believe this is part 5 of week 9 for C++. We're going to talk about header files in this video. So pretty quick, pretty simple, but just good to know if you're going to have a lot of functions and you don't want them to take up space in your program, or if you don't want to write all the prototypes for the functions, like what we talked about at the beginning of the program, uh, then you can just write something called a header file, include all of the functions in that header file, and then include the header file at the top of your main file, the same way you would include something like IO stream as a preprocessor directive. So the step one is to actually write the header file, your own code in C++. So I've got it here in my code light. I'll just go like this, and week 9 header file. We'll open this. Okay, cool. And then the other thing that I want to open, let's see, file open. File, I gotta find it now. Gotta go in here, is week 9 header file, ben.h. Okay, so you go like this in code light. If you want to do this, you go file, new empty file, and you type the following code in your empty file. So same example as what we did before. Writing the factorial, it takes a number and it iterates throughout the number, and then does factorial equals factorial times the iteration number. Just a different way of doing it, and then it returns the factorial as an int return type to whichever function calls it. So that would be a header file. And what you do is you do a file save as, and you want to save it in the same folder as your main.cpp here, but you want to save it as whatever you want to call it. It could be functions, it could be extra functions, it could be all of your functions .h. Okay, .h represents a header file type. So I save it as ben.h because I just want to call it whatever I want. And what this does is, instead of writing large and complex code, we kind of can create our own file that includes it, and then we can include it as our own library that we can use whenever, as frequently as we like it. So if you actually have a bunch of functions that you want to use in all your programs, so if you want to have like 2 lowercase, 2 uppercase, if you have a function that you want to use all the time, like print my SIN card information, you can put them in here and just save it and then copy that header file into your main program all the time. And all you have to do is include it like every other library, and basically it enhances our functionality and readability in our C++ program. So to understand how we do it, with this example, what we're going to do is we're going to consider a problem where we need this factorial of a number, and because it's not predefined in the standard C++ library, we're going to create it ourselves. So here's our factorial function. And now in our main.cpp, so what I did is I right-clicked, I made a new project, called it week 9 header file. And in my main.cpp, the code's already finished here, so you can see it, see how I basically did it. But step 2 is basically opening a fresh window and including your header file in that window. So in this case, you can write it in 2 ways. If it's a local file that you made and you put it in the folder that you're working with, then you have to do it with quotes, double quotes like that. So if you want to call it factorial.h or ben.h, whatever you want. And if it's a file that is angular brackets, then what that signifies is that the header is located in the standard folder with all other header files in C/C++. So we don't have to do that unless it's IO stream or CMath or something that's already been defined in the standard library. But if it's a user-defined header, then we have to define them with the preferred practice of double quotes. So how we do that is we add it to the top of our program in double quotes, and then basically you can use and call that program right here, factorial, and call the function from this preprocessor directive or this header file that's included. So key takeaway is that it needs to be in the same folder. And pretty much, if we take a look at it here, that's what I did. I included ben.h. You can see as I type it, okay, I just do hashtag include, whoops, and I start typing. Well, it should come up. There it is, ben.h. I hit tab, and it's in there, done. Ben.h, and all I have to do to call my function, okay, I have to know the function name is factorial, and there we go, ben, inside the ben.h folder file, header file, is this factorial function, and I pass it an integer, it returns the integer and prints it to the console. So if we run this, save and run it, what happens? Asks me to enter a positive integer. I'll do 5. Factorial 5 is 120. As you can see, I don't have any other functions other than main in here, other than, obviously, including this factorial function. So you could have hundreds and hundreds of functions, and it keeps your main.cpp really clean. Cool. So that's header files. You can rewatch this video. I'll post it in the playlist. I'm going to end this recording here, just a quick video. And then I'll do another video after this, giving the brief on assignment 4.